Every leader wants to be credible. When you say something, you want people to listen. When you say, hey, we should go left, you want your team to go left. When you say, hey, we should go right, you want your team to go right. You want people to listen. You don't want them to be robots, of course, but you want them to listen to you as someone who's credible, someone who knows what you're doing, you know where you're headed, and you know why you're going there. Of course, you have all kinds of reasons why, and maybe you're a great leader and you want to serve people and help people, and you want to be the kind of person that makes everyone's lives better, and you want to do great for your company, you want to do great for the world, great for your church, whatever. You want to do that, but at the same time, in order to do that, you have to give some sort of direction. You need credibility. If you don't have credibility as a leader, then it's almost like not having oxygen. If you don't have oxygen, you're going to die right away. It's a matter of time. If you don't have credibility, you're not going to lead much longer. People aren't going to follow you. And then, like John Maxwell says, if you're leading but no one's following, then you're just out for a walk. And that's not what you want. You want actual credibility. Now, the problem, though, is that you oftentimes, and I think a lot of people oftentimes, I've done this in the past, you lead with authority to gain credibility as opposed to influence. One of the best stories that I've heard of people who have learned not to lead with authority and have used their influence instead comes from Tom Brady. Now, as I explain this, you'll understand exactly what I mean by authority and influence. Now, Tom Brady, a lot of you know who Tom Brady is. He's one of the, if not the greatest football player of all time. Won more championship rings by himself than most teams have won in their entire franchise. So he has done a lot of great things. He played football for the New England Patriots for a long time. And then towards the end of his career, he decided to leave the New England Patriots and he tried to go to a different team. He decided to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a lot of different reasons. But when he showed up, he'd been in New England for years. He was known all over the world as the best football player of all time. And he'd won so many championships and he had all kinds of friends in Boston. Now he's going down to Tampa Bay. He doesn't know hardly anybody. He doesn't know anybody on the team. They know him. He doesn't know them. It's a perfect opportunity for him to flex his muscle and say, hey, everybody, I'm Tom Brady and we're going to win a championship because why? I'm Tom Brady, right? He's still good. He's still in his prime. He can just flex his muscle and tell everybody, you should listen to me because I have loads of credibility here and look who I am. He walks into the locker room on one of the very first days and he looks around and he doesn't know a single person, doesn't know hardly anybody. He knows them by maybe their reputation, but he doesn't know them personally. Certainly doesn't have their phone number. So what he does is he goes to the coach's room and he doesn't ask for a playbook. He doesn't ask for an opportunity to, address the team or anything like that. He asks for this. He asks for every person's phone number on the offensive team. He gets their personal phone number, their cell phone number. And guess what? He calls them, all of them, one at a time. Imagine how much time that took. And when he calls them, he asks them about their family. He asks them about their background. He asks them about how much they enjoyed playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He asks them about their season last year, what they expect for this next season. He asks them all kinds of questions. He really gets to know them as people. He doesn't start with commands. He starts with conversations. And you wouldn't believe it. The very next year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they go on to win the Super Bowl, one of the hardest championships to win. Now, that's Tom Brady. But on the opposite end, you've got Kobe Bryant. Now, I'm going to start by telling you I am a huge Kobe Bryant fan for the most part. I mean, he had an incredible career. He did amazing things when I was growing up. I loved almost every way he played. I tried to mimic my own college game after him with not so great results, but I thought he was incredible. And then, as I got older, I started learning more about leadership and how people actually follow people and why people follow people. And I realized that Kobe was great on the court. He had an amazing jump shot. He played unbelievable defense. He was not a great leader, especially early in his career. Here's why. He was very, very, very focused on gaining credibility through authority. If he scored the most points, if he knew the most about basketball, if he tried the hardest on the court, then therefore people would follow him. But what he found out right away was that people did not respond to authority. They didn't respond to arrogance. They didn't respond even to intelligence. They responded to influence. Like, for example, sometimes when he was early in his career, he'd go on road trips and the whole team would be hanging out and then the whole team would go out. They'd just hang out and have a good time, whatever they do, He would never go with them. Ever. He thought that was an example of him being different and better. And so he'd go back to his room and he'd eat his dinner and he'd watch game film. He'd just focus on game film. And then other times, other players would hang out and he would go lift weights and he was getting better every single day while they were out partying. Totally fine. I'm not for partying. He probably made a good choice in that regard, but here's what he didn't do. He didn't build rapport with his team. He didn't learn how to connect with them personally. He didn't get to know them and their own backgrounds. He didn't find another way to do it. In fact, he just stuck by himself. What happened over time is that his team started to resent him. Even though he was great, he was better than all of them. They still didn't want to follow him. And they ran into challenge after challenge after challenge. In fact, him and Shaq notoriously had a horrible relationship. Both their egos clashed, Kobe's more than Shaq's. And then it wasn't until the second half of his career, towards the end of his career, we started to realize the value of understanding his teammates, helping them get better, understanding what made them tick, figuring out what made them click and want to go that next level. And for some people, it was encouragement. For some people, it was challenge. For some people, it was praise. But he figured out every individual and then started to respond in a way that made them better. It wasn't a natural muscle. He had to learn it and he had to earn it. And eventually it ended up helping him win a championship. But over time, he had to figure out that it wasn't about authority. It wasn't about being the biggest dog on the court. It was about him being a genuinely influential leader. Now, this is important because it illustrates the difference between authority and influence. Oftentimes, when you feel like you want to gain credibility, you want people to listen to you, you want to lead the team, you want to help people, you want to go somewhere, you flex your title. You're like, well, I'm the boss. I'm the supervisor. I started this company. I'm the one that counts the dollars. I'm the one that writes the checks. I'm the one that... And you sort of flex your authority in order to gain credibility, to get people to listen to you, to get people to comply with you. But the best leaders, they're the ones who understand how to lead with influence, even though they have authority, even though they are the boss, even though they are the supervisor, even though they are in charge. They don't lead with that. They don't flex with that. They don't get people to follow them because they have to. They get people to follow them, get this, because they want to.